Okay, today what I'm going to do is give you just an overview as requested by one student for sure, an overview of the final project, and then maybe if there's some questions, you'll all be able to email me those questions, and I'll be happy to get with you. But I have put also a more detailed project sheet under final project, and I'll call that up and kind of go over it with you in this video. Actually, it's I'm going to show you the screenshots rather than being a live video. Well, I guess it is live video, but here were our week 4 assignments, and what I'm going to post for week 5 is actually just what is over here in Evernote. So I'm going to bring that up so I can be sure everyone is getting there. But in week 5, which starts next week, February 16th, we are going to skip chapter 7, and that's in the PDF Design Basics book, which is just your ebook. We have, once you finished the chapter 7 in Robin Williams' book last week and took the little quiz 3, then basically this book is going to be used from now on. I will be testing that you have applied the principles that you learned in this design book. Now, one thing that I did want to bring out is there's an area called Extra Tips and Tricks that I did not assign. And let's see if I can find that, what I'm talking about. It was actually the section, if you looked at the table of contents, let's see. I did do 11 and 12. Okay, 13, I believe it's chapter 8, which is where, yeah, chapter 8. This one is the one where it talks about business cards, letterhead and envelopes, flyers, newsletters, brochures, postcards, advertising, and resumes. And we did not go over this section just because of time, for one thing. But the other thing I want to bring up is this is just a small little book, but I'm telling you, if you're in graphic design or any kind of design field, this is a great little book to hang on to and refer back to. And this is her latest update, because I used one for a long time, several years, that she hadn't updated. But this one was actually recently updated by Robin Williams this year, well, it's got a publishing date of 2015, so actually last year. And so I would hang on to this, and anytime you might have a job where you needed to look at business card design or one of those areas, that's really good in her book. So basically, as far as assignments go, once you get finished, you were supposed to have done chapters 9 through 12 and all the little quizzes. And in the beginning, it was chapters 1 through 6 and all the little quizzes. And then there's also some discussion, and I may be putting up one more discussion. I think there's a Train the Designer Eye in one of those chapters that I'll still be posting up. And be sure, if you've not done your discussions on Behance, be sure that you do post those discussions. And now for this week, the PDF of the book Design Basics, we are going to skip chapter 7 in there. And so the first part of the week, your assignment is to start on your final project. And the way I want you to do that is to turn in a paragraph Word document. Just there's not a specific length. I just want it to tell me specifically in detail what your iPad app is going to do. And it can include a sketch that you could take a picture of with your phone or a scanner, whichever way you want to do it, and place it in a folder in your main folder on the Google Drive called Final Project. I will take a look at that, because some of the specifications are that I don't want it to be an app that has already been created. I want it to be something that, say you go to the App Store and you're looking for something that'll do a specific thing for you that is not there. You think, man, I wish somebody would write an app to do that. That's what I'm looking for, something new. It doesn't have to be elaborate, just some simple little idea that you might have. And then I want you to go to this document, creating a logo. Many of you I know have created logos before, and I know I had you do that on this test, but you didn't really, I know, have a lot of time to put into it. This is the logo that will actually be both on your web banner assignment and in the little icon on your iPad app. And I continue to say iPad app, but you are able also to create a Google Play Store app. And I did link some examples that students have done of both. So maybe that will be an advantage to you. So this is where I was telling you to do a pencil drawing of the logo for your iPad app. You can change it if you decide to do it differently as you progress through your project. But I want this week to be able to look into your final project folder and see 2 items. I want to be able to see your paragraph describing what you're going to do, and then a sketched drawing that you can place in that folder also. And you can either scan it or take a quick picture with your phone, whichever way is easier for you. All right, and then the second part of the week will be to complete Chapter 8 InDesign, and it's again still in the Design Basics PDF, and do the chapter quiz and chapter practice as you've been doing in those chapters. This InDesign is really important, and if you need to look at some of the tutorials, just remember, for every one of these pieces of software that we're using, I gave you a link at the top when we first started Illustrator to Adobe.tv is really what these links are. Well, out there at Adobe.tv, they have many, many tutorials for every one of these applications that we're using. So InDesign, if you've never used it before, you might want to view some of those tutorials, because that is what I want you to use when you actually do your iPad page layout, because that's what InDesign was created for, is as a page layout program. All right, so if there are any questions, just remember what I'm going to be looking for is 2 items in your final project folder: the paragraph describing what your app will be, and a sketch drawing of your logo to go with that final project. So if there are any questions, I'm going to go ahead and let me go back to the content here, and we're going to actually look at that final project document. And if you had looked at it earlier, please throw that one away. It is still like that. That's still what's required. But I tried to go in and modify this to be a lot more detailed as to what's expected. And because I wasn't sure if I was going to get this video done. I tried before and I spent like 30 minutes and thought it recorded, and it did not. So I'm hoping this one is recording. Okay, so the final project has 2 parts, and the one that you're going to be working on first is part 1. You're going to design an iPad, tablet, or smartphone app. Some of the guidelines here for creating the app: after looking through the App Store, design an app, any category, for the iPad, iPhone, or Android device. Only the idea. You are not required to create the app programmatically. Although what I do want to state here is that students who are getting a multimedia degree, they are required to complete the capstone course, which is CIT 2313, where you independently develop a project either for a client or if there have been a couple of students decide that the app that they created, they really did want to develop. They felt like it was such a great idea. And so by that time, I have a mobile app design, or I'm sorry, development course that you can take, and you can also be certified as a mobile app design person. And that's part of the certification, one of the certifications underneath the multimedia degree. And so if you put a lot of thought into it here, that may be an option that you would have when you do your capstone project. And also, those of you that don't have that interest but are really interested in the design, there are companies, if you feel like you've got a winning design, that would also develop your app for you. Okay, so here's what's required. A logo that will promote the app is required using an illustration created in Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, or InDesign. Create the logo using the instructions for creating a logo. Although I said you could use any of these, most students and most companies assume when you create logos that you're going to use Illustrator, which is, that's what it is really created for or developed for, is for this type of graphic development. So then write the excerpt about the developer and the description that would be for marketing the download. And so this is, if you go out to the App Store, and we're going to look at some examples here before I finish the tutorial. This is some parts of the page layout that you will do. It doesn't have to be real about the developer. It can be a fictitious developer. You can say you're the developer and tell some fictitious information or real information. It's up to you. Follow the example of a screen when going to the App Store or online or on a smart device, and create the logo, price, description, and features. And so here's a link to some of the examples that students, oh, that link doesn't look like it works. I know there's another, I guess these links are not going to work in this PDF, but both of these are in Evernote and also in, we'll go back and click on this here in a minute. So you'll create the page layout using Adobe InDesign, go to the, that was crazy, go to the App Store, or the Google Play Store to do that, and to look at some of them. Then this is in addition. This actually is not part of your app, but you're to create a web banner for a website homepage, which would be used throughout the website using Photoshop and Illustrator to promote your app. I will show you some examples of that. This will be used in the second part of your final to create a home page of a website to promote your app. Okay, files to be included in the zipped file folder. And the file folder for this part of the project should say your initials _ final project.zip, and it should include 7 files, because there should be 2 logo files, the actual Illustrator file, and then either the GIF, PNG, or JPEG, whichever you decide to save for the web. Then your InDesign layout should be called App Design, and it will have the InDesign extension so that I can confirm that you did use InDesign in the development. And then you would save it as a PDF file, because that way other students, and when you, there's just that format will go open on anybody's computer. Then your web banner should be a PSD, because you're to import Illustrator things that you might need into Photoshop to create the web banner, and you had a chapter on that in your book. Then you will save that PSD file as a JPEG and as a PDF. So there are a total of 7 files that should be zipped into a final project file. Then final project part 2 is to after we complete the Dreamweaver lessons, you will create just the home page. You don't have to create any other part of the website. You're to place your web banner that you created to promote your app in part 1 of the final project. Write content to promote the page. It needs to only be like a paragraph formatted using Dreamweaver. And then zip this file as Dreamweaver project.zip, and it should also go in your final project folder. And here's the rubric that I will use in grading those projects. And we will definitely, each person, if we can't do it all at one time, I'm going to set up a couple times for project presentations so that you all can actually just tell me about bring it up on the screen and tell me about it and what you intend to do, and if you think you'll use it later on, or we'll just have probably about 2 to 3 minutes of you talking about that and your home page. So that is the rubric for it, and hopefully that's a little more detailed to help you with it. And as far as choosing the Behance option, which it says in our down here in Evernote, let me pull Evernote up. It does say at the bottom that you can choose the Behance option over. You still do the Dreamweaver lessons, and you would still have your web banner. But if you, and what I've had most students do in the past, they've done both because they wanted to get their stuff, what they've developed out on Behance where it could be seen. And if you've done the Behance research, you find out that's a very good thing to do to promote yourself. And so some students have done both because I want to see that you did understand the Dreamweaver lessons. Now up here under creating a logo, since that link didn't work, let me click on it quickly. And this is the article that I want you to read over and get some good ideas here on creating and designing a logo, the things to brainstorm about. And if you have some others, see there's also some sample logos here, brainstorming, testing the design, finalizing the design. These are all steps that you can take that help you in creating the logo. All right, and then if we go back to our main home page here, I believe, oh, did I not put that link? Maybe it is in. Okay, no, I put it. Let me look in my, maybe it will work here. Oh, I know where I can get it to work. Hold on. And then I'll put it down in the Evernote for the examples that students have done. Don't see that project. Let me go here. Spring. I'm going to show you the final project examples is what I wanted to do here. But first, let me find final project. It must be this one. Should have the link here. Let me find that. There it is. Okay. Let me also copy this. But I can also talk about these examples for a little bit. Okay, so when you get a link to this folder, this has like it has the zipped files. Now, none of these have the Dreamweaver webpage. Here I couldn't find one of those that I had left over. So here are the iPad ones. And it does have the web banners in here. So here's her logo. She didn't name it just logo, but here's her app design. And she did her logo in InDesign too, it looks like. Web banner. So let's look at this one. And this one is a Google Play one. This was her logo that she designed. Here's her buttons, and she laid all this out in InDesign. It has the description of what the app will be, and excuse me, it has a little bit about herself as the developer. There really doesn't have to be the reviews yet, because this is really not applicable to your app yet until you have really created it. But now these are good, because these would be probably some that they would also want to download. She created these screenshots from probably her website and posted them here. And oh, it looks like maybe, no, there's not a next page. Okay, then let me show you the web banner then. Here's her web banner. And this is what she would use on her website to promote her app. Okay, and you can see that there are several more here. There's, let me go up here. There's one, let me see if this is the one that's not, I can't remember for sure which one is not a Google. I think there's two Google. Oh yeah, this one is kind of interesting. Where's her PDF? Oh, here it is. I think hers is an iPad. Let's see, limited time offer. Yeah, it's like not really, she was really into mermaids. And so this is a little app she created, and I guess maybe there would be, it's called Scaly Fins, and there's her description. I believe this one is set up like an iPad or a Apple iTunes store project. But you're welcome to look at these at your own leisure. I'm going to go and let me get this link copied and posted into Evernote for you. If I can get back here. And so this will be right here. I'm going to put final examples. And there may be another link, because I sure thought that I put the link also in the D2L, but then I didn't see it there. So just to make sure that you do have it, there is a link to those examples. All right, so let me sync that. And hopefully this has been beneficial to you. And any other questions, please email me and we'll be able to answer those questions, hopefully. There is one more test, which will be over the rest of this book. And the thing on the Dreamweaver, the test on the Dreamweaver, is for me to see you use it. And then those lessons will be put in a folder there. All right. Hopefully you were able to, this be some help.